Welcome back to Misunderstood. I'm Rachel Yucatel. It's crazy to think the Bachelor franchise has been on the air for 20 years. It's totally insane, which with the Bachelorette, the Bachelor in Paradise, and now the Golden Bachelor, which I was totally into. It's the franchise that became a whole nation. Today, we have one of your all time favorites from the show, Carly Waddell. She first appeared on Desiree's season of The Bachelorette when her own brother, Zach, was one of the suitors, and producers liked her so much that they invited her to participate herself. She was then on Chris Soule's season. Do you remember him? He was like the hottest. Then Bachelor in Paradise, where we saw her get her heart broken. And then the following season, we got to see her fall in love, get engaged, and actually marry the guy. The thing I love about having people on the show that become famous from reality TV is that everyone thinks that they know them, but you really only know a small piece of who they are. And I love to discover who they are outside of that image. Carly comes from a really close family. She's always been a performer. She even went to college for it and got her start singing on a cruise ship way before The Bachelor came into her life. I think one of the reasons people fell in love with Carly in the first place, me included, is because she doesn't take herself too seriously. She opens up about her failures and her dreams. And now she's going full steam ahead and making her musical dreams in country music a reality. And this episode is so fun and full of great girl talk. So welcome, Carly Waddell. Carly, welcome to Misunderstood. I'm so happy to have you here.
So excited to be here. Can I just say something real fast? How do you have a really good face with a center part and a side part? Like
What do
that
you mean?
video, you have like a side part and it looks so good, but then you also look so good with the center part.
Really? Oh, well, that's a really nice compliment. Thank you. You're
So I was
so
like, oh
funny.
my gosh, look at her hair. It looks amazing.
You're funny. Well, your hair looks amazing. Um, so I wanted to listen. Most of the shows I feel like you do are Bachelor centered because people know you as somebody that was on The Bachelor, part of
Right.
Bachelor in Paradise. My listeners are not necessary. I mean, of course, they've seen The Bachelor, they love The Bachelor, I'm sure, but are not as familiar already going into it. So I'm going to ask you a lot of questions that you may think are like, oh, this is so stupid. But a lot of our listeners really want to know stuff about what it's like to be on that show, what it was like for
Yeah.
you, all the gossip that it's kind of like things that you might find tedious because this should be stuff we already know, but we don't.
I mean, I'm going to know a lot of information most people don't know because I was there.
Right, exactly.
Yeah.
So, but what's more important though is you were a person before it and after it. So before you got on the show, I want people to get to know who you were, and I want to know who you were before that. So tell me about like where you grew up, what you were like as a kid.
Oh my gosh. Well, I grew up in Dallas, in Texas. I have two older brothers. I mean, we grew up very just like, I don't know, we lived in a neighborhood and played, football on the street and hockey. I grew up singing karaoke in the garage. I have a very tight family. We're still really tight. Even though only my parents live near me now. My brothers one lives in Texas, one lives in Florida. But I don't know. I had a really great childhood. Some people look back and they say, gosh, I had a lot of trauma and stuff. And I didn't have that experience. I had things happen here and there, but I'm just super lucky, honestly.
That's so nice. And did you always love music and singing?
Yes. I started singing in musicals when I was like probably 7. Um, and I did like the musical theater route for a long time, and then got into writing country music, and then started doing country music. And then I sang on cruise ships. And then after cruise ships was actually the Bachelor stuff. But the only thing I've ever done to like make money was like wait tables and sing.
So that's so amazing. Wait, tell me what it's like to sing on a cruise ship. How did you even get that job offer?
So I was singing in a show in Savannah, Georgia. And my best friend at the time, who was also in the show with me, she sang on cruise ships for a while I was at college, and they offered her a job, and she was like, I can't do it because I'm staying in the show, but I was just covering someone that was pregnant. And so my time is about to be up. And she's like, you should take the job. And so I just made a video, sent it in, and I was hired like immediately. Um, but it was, I mean, I'd never even been on a cruise ship. So like, I didn't know what I was getting into. Normally with cruise ships, you rehearse beforehand, like any show on land, and then you go take it to the ship. And I was replacing somebody. So
Right.
I rehearsed on the ship and was in the show within a week. So
And
it
is
was
the show
great.
every night, or how, like, do you have to hang out with the guests? Do you stay in your room? Like, what's it like for 6 months doing that?
Well, it depends on the ship, but the first ship I was on, it had 3 shows. So you have like, let's say you're on there for a week. You know, some cruises are longer, but you usually only rehearse like 3 shows. But then you'll have like a cabaret or some type of fun little show in between that you do as well. But there's only like 3 usually big main stage shows. And then you can do whatever you can't fraternize with the guests, they say, because then you'll get fired. But and there are definitely people that try. There was a golf pro one time I remember that took this girl back to his room, and he was fired. Like they just walked to his room, knocked on the door, and they're like, "You're bye,
Oh,
you're
wow.
out tomorrow." But
So it's
it
not
was
like the
really
love,
fun.
it's not like the Love Boat where you're meeting a new love every week.
Oh yeah, no, you definitely could. I almost like ended up dating somebody that was like a employee. Like I dated a Russian figure skater for a while. There was a on my first ship. There was a ice rink, and he was a figure skater. He didn't speak any English, but we had fun. I tell you,
Obviously.
we had a good time.
Obviously.
And then the next 2 ships, I dated the same guy. But no, it was there's lots of people that sleep with other people, and then there's people who don't, and then there's people who just live it up, and the people who stay in their room. I mean, I traveled like every time I could get off the ship, which was pretty much always I could. They treat singers very well.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
And people probably love you anyways, because
Oh
it's
yeah,
a
you're
fun
like the
thing.
celebrity of the ship. Yes.
Right, exactly. All right,
Yeah.
so tell us, I don't know if a lot of people know this, but you didn't apply. Most people have to apply to be
Right.
on The Bachelorette or on The Bachelor. You fell into it because of your brother. Talk to us about that.
Yeah. So my last cruise ship, when I was on it, my brother went on The Bachelorette. And so I hadn't seen him in 9 months. And because my last cruise ship was so long. And so I got home, and he was going to hometown dates within like 3 days of getting home. And so I was literally like fresh off the boat. And he walked in, and it was like so exciting. And they asked my mom to like interview the bachelorette, because they were like, well, we think that she like doesn't really she likes them as a friend, and somebody needs to talk to her kind of harshly about this. And my mom's like so scared. She's like, I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. And I was like, I don't know, put me in, coach, I'll do it, I don't care.
Right.
And so then I think they just, I don't know. I feel like the executive producer at that time was this guy named Alon Gale. And he just, I think, loved my spirit and my gumption, I guess. And
Mhm.
so when my brother got kicked off, which was right after they met us, terrible. It's so terrible. We got him kicked off. But anyway, then he was like, would you ever want to do the show? And the next person to be the bachelor was Juan Pablo. And he was like my brother's best friend on the show. And Juan Pablo and I, like, we just like don't get along.
Okay.
And so I was like, no, I'm not doing it. And
Wait,
my
why
brother
don't you
was
get
so
along?
mad. I don't know. He's just like, those people in life that like you just like butt heads.
Yeah.
Like I felt like he was like the brother that I never had that I butted heads with all the time,
Mm.
because he
Okay.
was like around quite a bit, always hanging out with, my brother Zach. And I don't know, he just always had something to say. And I was like, I don't need your opinions. Like, I don't know
Right.
you. I don't need your
Right.
opinions. But I
But
was like,
wait, at this point, had your brother said this was such a fun experience, I loved it, you should
oh
do it
yeah.
if they offer it to you?
Yeah. He was like, absolutely, you should do it. You're not going to get another chance. And I was like, watch me. And my brothers, both of them, they were really mad, because they truly thought like this was it. And then,
But did they want it for you because they wanted you to find love, or they wanted you to become famous?
honestly, I think my brothers wanted it for exposure
Yeah.
and for me, but I didn't. I was like, I don't like him and I don't want to date him. Why
Yeah.
would I do that? That is so dumb. And honestly, one of the huge reasons I left cruise ships was because I was so lonely and I was like, I'm going to get stuck doing this and I'm going to be 45 years old, single, still singing cruise ships. Like, I want a family. I want a husband. I want a boyfriend. I want a life.
Yeah.
And so, then they were like, well, if there's ever a bachelor that like gets announced that you would want to date, let us know. And so Chris Soules was announced on Good Morning America. And immediately I texted the producer Alana. I was like, please let me on. I want to date him. And then
Yeah.
he was
Well,
like, cool.
so wait,
on.
let me understand this. So once he's
Yeah.
announced, they haven't actually picked the girls yet that are going to film?
There's a lot of girls that have been picked, but in
Okay.
this scenario, me and actually, which is crazy, my best friend from the show, Jade, we were the last two picked, and it was after he had already been announced. So they have like, I think most people chosen, and then there's a few stragglers that come along at the end.
Right. Right. So if they had announced that Chris Soules was going to be the bachelor and they had talked to me about being one of the girls, I would have been like, hi, I'm over here. In my opinion, he was and remains the hottest bachelor.
I will say I agree with you on the physical part. He was hard for me to talk to. And I can kind of talk to anybody. And it was hard to like pull things out of him. Like we were friends. We were like homies. We were like good on
There was no sexual chemistry.
No. And they tried. They put me on like this sex date with him. And then they tried to get us naked and all these things. And I was like, no, this is so weird.
Oh my God. This episode is proudly brought to you by Lola V, an award-winning hair care line founded by the one and only Jennifer Aniston. She's been hair goals for as long as I can remember. I'm proud to say I get a lot of comments on my hair on social media as well. I feel like it's something I'm known for. And there are so many hair products on the market that can be confusing to other people if you haven't tried it yourself. But I found one that really works, and finding something that's actually good for you is very hard. So that's where Lola V comes in. I put my hair through the ringer. I'm sure you do too. Coloring, styling, extensions that I get, I'm always changing it up. So it's crucial to have products that repair and shield my hair from future harm. If you want to get started, Lola V's bestsellers are the cult classic Glossing Detangler and Perfecting Leave-In Conditioner. They will be your saviors. They aren't just styling products, they're your hair's new best friends. And what kind of best friend would they be if they didn't give us a little treat? So for a limited time, you can get an exclusive 15% off your entire order at lolav.com. Just use code UNDERSTOOD at checkout. So I got these products maybe a week ago, and I've been using them obviously every day. I absolutely love them. I've already reordered stock for myself, and I've ordered it some friends that I knew had some things coming up that I just wanted to send them a little gift. I can't tell you how much it has changed my hair already in a week. It looks and feels so much better. There's a tangible difference. The restorative shampoo, conditioner, and intensive repair treatment makes every shower feel like you are at a spa. It's so luxurious, but it doesn't stop there. The post-shower products will change your whole styling routine. I didn't really know about these things. I mean, I've seen different products before. I've always been nervous about my hair getting greasy, but the Glossing Detangler, the Perfecting Leave-In, and the Lightweight Hair Oil are an amazing trifecta of goodness. So unlock Jennifer Aniston's approved hair at lolav.com. As our loyal listeners, you will get an exclusive 15% off your entire order when you use code UNDERSTOOD at checkout. That's 15% off your entire order at LOLAVIE.com with promo code UNDERSTOOD. Please note you can only use one promo code per order and discounts cannot be combined. After you purchase, they'll ask you where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. Yeah. Wait a minute. So now tell us what it's like to be on that with all these girls and you're all vying for the same guy. How does that really work? I mean, are you hating the girls, loving them? Are you never seeing Chris? You're only seeing him once in a while? Like, explain the whole thing.
Okay. So it starts out and I feel like you're just trying to kind of find your people at first. Or
Okay.
there's people that just focus solely on The Bachelor, right? They're like, I don't need friends. I'm here for this, which is fine.
Is there a certain strategy for either airtime or to get time with him? Like,
my strategy coming on was because I always get nervous about not even on regular dates. I'm like, what am I going to talk about? So I
Yeah.
kind of like plan out what I'm going to say, some questions in my head. So I came with like props. Like I came with different items that I would take into our time together and like uh so that we'd have something to talk about. Like I brought the first thing I did for the first night was I brought one of those fortune teller things that you like do this
Oh,
and
yeah, yeah.
each thing had like a question on it, which I don't
To
even know if
create
they ever showed
conversation.
that. Yeah. But then the next year they used that idea and I was like, rude, that was my idea. Um, but take credit. But I brought little things, or I would come up with like questions or whatever before going into my time.
Right.
But lots of girls just went up and talked to him, and that was cool. That's what you're supposed to do, probably. But you don't see him very often. You see him if there's like a group date, but again, it's like weird you get a few seconds of his time unless you have,
Mm,
those one-on-one dates. And even with the one-on-one date, you usually have an activity and then you have like a dinner.
mm,
So the activity probably lasts like an hour. You don't drive in the same car to the activity. You're separate. Sometimes you
wow.
drive back together, but not most of the time. So you're usually pretty separate unless you're on a camera.
And do you feel like it took you a while to realize that there wasn't a lot of chemistry between you 2, or you knew immediately from just watching how he interacted with people?
I think with me, I think that I knew there wasn't a lot of chemistry, like, I think it was like our first group date. When I talked to him a few times at the mansion, I was like, "Oh, he's so attractive. Like, yeah, this could work or whatever."
I
Um,
could make it work.
I can make it work. But again, like back then, I was really like I hadn't dated anybody in a long time. My boyfriend that was like on 2 cruise ships with me, like in the middle of like dating him, like stopped wanting to have sex with me, which was like really fucked with my brain. And like it was just there, I was like in a really weird, like not feeling sexy about myself
Yeah.
place. So I think I also kind of got myself into friend zone really easily because I wasn't like rooted with my vagina,
Yep.
like, and so um really, I think a couple, like, I don't know, a couple dates in, I was kind of like, this is kind of not going well. Like, I could just tell it was like kind of hard to talk to him, and we were kind of getting more in like friend zone. And then our dinner we had, I felt like maybe it could go somewhere, but then I don't know. By the end, I was like, I could see him having like really strong connections with other people, and it honestly didn't really bother me.
Yeah.
And so if it doesn't bother you, that probably means that's not your person,
Yeah. Probably.
Because lots of girls would really upset them. They're like, "We just had this amazing date, and now he's going out with this girl," and like it just breaks my heart. And I wasn't feeling like that.
Yeah. So I've always wondered how that editing goes, or if you feel like it's true. Like as you see it unfold, even in episode 1, 2, 3, early on, people are saying, "Oh yeah, I could definitely fall in love. Oh yeah, there's multiple people I could fall in love with." And then all the way to the end, you string along 2, and then you
Uh-huh.
pick. Do you believe that that's really true? Like, do you think you could be in love with 2 people and not know until that very last moment?
I think about that often because it's been happening. I feel like more lately.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know the answer to that. I think I think with girls, like when they're the bachelorette, I do think there's something about like almost like a loyalty they feel for the first person they like. And usually that first person goes really far.
Mm.
With guys, sometimes it's like super up in the air. But I don't know. I mean,
Like, did you watch The Golden Bachelor where it
yes,
still
that's
played
what I'm
out that
thinking.
same way?
I know, but that's what I was thinking. I haven't said that to somebody else. I was like, it's crazy. I feel like I was watching what I've seen happen so often with the women that he felt some sort of loyalty and he
Yeah,
liked her first and then was like, well, I already like her. Like,
right.
am I allowed to like these other people? I feel bad now
Yeah.
because I like her. So I don't know. But I don't know. I mean, I dated like 2 people at the same time in college. I did get caught. That wasn't good. But I liked
But
both
that's
of them.
different. That's kind of called cheating. If one person thinks you're
We
dating
were
them.
not exclusive.
Yeah, but like on a show, it's a little
Yeah,
different.
I
But
don't
that's
know.
funny.
I feel like you probably do like both people in so many different ways. They probably make you feel really good about yourself in different ways too. And then I don't know, feel like I don't know that the love thing is possible. Even when, I look back on when I was on Bachelor in Paradise and got engaged and I was saying, I love you already. That actually wasn't love. That was something else. That was, I like you or I lust for you or whatever. But I don't know that the love component is there until you really, really know them after the show.
Yeah. So talk about that. You were on Bachelor in Paradise twice. You did not have a great first season, correct?
Oh, no, that did not go well for me.
Just fill people in for a second on what happened there if they
So
don't
I
want.
like dated this guy from like the first, they call it the sand. So we came down together on the first day and we were together through like the very last date that you're supposed to go out on. And Chris Harrison is like, okay, like everybody's going on their dates today and then you'll figure out like what you want. And like I was just sitting with this guy like at the pool right before Chris Harrison's like, okay, let's break apart and then we'll come together and you'll go on your dates. And he was like, I'm so excited to take you back to Minnesota and like this is gonna be so fun, blah, blah, blah. So I wasn't thinking anything was wrong. And then he comes up to like get me to go on our date and he's looking kind of funny. And I was like, what are you gonna do? Break up with me? And I was joking, and then he did.
But why? Why did he? You didn't
Well,
see it coming, obviously.
no,
Do
I
you
mean,
think the
truly.
viewers did the viewers see it coming?
No, nobody. I mean, it's so weird too because when that happened, it made me almost like not trust the Bachelor process because I was like, did the producers know? And then like I'm the only one who didn't know and my friends didn't like because it was such a blind side and everyone was acting like they had no idea it was coming. And I just don't know that that was actually true.
Yeah.
Because when I talked to him after the show, he said that there was a girl he was dating at home and they had like broken up. And then every time he'd get like further with me dating, he was just thinking about her, which I just wish he had told me that like maybe on the show, but
Right.
whatever.
Or
Um,
maybe didn't do the show. I
or
mean,
didn't do the show at all.
right.
Let's start there. Yeah. But I don't know. Yeah, I definitely didn't see it coming and I didn't know how to react to it because I really thought like, oh, like everybody's trying to make me look like a fool.
Yeah.
Which they
But
weren't.
it is interesting because weddings in Bachelor Nation are not as common, I feel like, as they used to be. But you guys got married on camera in front of the TV, and you have a couple friends that are married with kids still, correct?
Yes. Yeah. I mean, there's a lot of people it really does work for people.
Yeah,
I mean, you can meet anybody. You can meet people on The Bachelor. You can meet them at the grocery store. You can meet them at school. You
that's
can
right.
meet them, anywhere. And there's a lot of people in Bachelor Nation. It just
Yeah,
obviously keeps growing and growing because there's more shows. And
right.
Bachelor in Paradise, I feel like is actually a really easy place to meet people because there's so many people from different seasons, and it's just a revolving door of people like coming in and out.
Well, it's interesting. I mean, they've kind of already vetted them for you, right?
Yeah.
People know a little bit of their personality or history coming into it, and they're all really good looking. So, like, you've narrowed
Yeah.
it down,
Right.
to kind
Right.
of the pool you want to be working with, as opposed to going to a bar or wherever you're going to find someone, or going on
Very true.
Bumble and not knowing who you're going to get or who they're going to
Right.
be in.
Right. Yeah.
So, that is interesting. So, what was it like to have your wedding on TV and that quickly? Like, did it get sped up because they were filming it, or were you like, yes, let's do this? I love you so much. I can't wait to start having kids.
It was interesting because he wanted the wedding part on TV more than I did.
Mm,
It was his second marriage, so I kind of was like, "Why the big show?" in a way.
yeah.
Um, Because I don't know, I never was one of those girls who like dreamed of my wedding. I just wasn't.
Yeah.
So I thought it was great. I mean, they asked me, what dresses do you want and what, food and what we're doing it at this venue. What do you want it to look like?
And is it
They
true
paid
that
for it
they
all.
pay for everything?
They did, yes.
Wow.
I did not get to keep my dress, but that's because it was like the first dress this designer had made of this particular style. So he wanted that back for sentimental reasons, which is fine. We got divorced, doesn't matter anyway.
Yeah.
But but it was, it was fine. I wouldn't have wanted to do that again. I
But
don't
could
think.
you invite family members or did you have to invite people from Bachelor Nation who you had never met?
So there were definitely people from Bachelor Nation that I didn't know. Well, actually, no, I think I knew everybody that was there. I knew them. Lots of people, were from seasons that I was on or whatever. I did get to invite family, but we had like a limited amount of people that we could invite. So, like when you invite like one cousin, then you have to invite like,
Yeah.
the mom and dad, and then it just keeps expanding.
Right.
So I kept my circle very, very small. Um, and
Was there anyone that came that you were so excited they were coming from like another season?
Gosh, honestly, the fact that Jade came was huge because she was super pregnant and Zika like was down in Mexico at that time. And so
Mhm.
she was like, I'm not missing your wedding. So truly, like when she walked in, I was like, I cannot believe you're here. And she had to be like super careful the whole time. But that I was just like, okay, like you're a really great friend. Like I don't know
Right.
if I would have done that.
That's so nice.
Yeah.
Did Chris Soules make it to your wedding?
No. No,
Yeah.
he did not.
Uh, okay, so you're not still buddy buddy with him.
No, no.
Oh,
I think the last time I talked to him was, oh gosh, I'm trying to think. I mean, it's been so long. I don't
right.
even.
Long enough that you don't remember. All
Yeah,
right. So you had Chris Harrison officiate your wedding, which must have been
yeah,
super fun.
yeah. It was
Um,
fun.
and I assume are you close with him still?
Oh gosh, I really kind of distanced myself from the Bachelor world. I think after the divorce and stuff, I just kind of like took a step back. But also,
Mhm.
God, he had to take a major step back, which I think is so
Yeah.
sad. Like,
Well, I was going to ask you about that. When you heard about that, what were your thoughts? I mean, I feel like you must have had some sort of a relationship where you trusted him, liked
yeah,
him.
I don't know. It's so hard. Our cancel culture in this world right now is just, you just have, it's almost like don't talk,
Yeah.
and it's so
Yeah.
frustrating because Chris Harrison's such a good guy. And
Yeah.
I love Chris Harrison. And so, like, that it was just immediate, like, you're done was very frustrating that, like, no
Mhm.
one can have an opinion about anything anymore.
Yeah.
And like, and I mean, I get where the public is coming from on the whole situation, but I don't know. Everything in cancel culture right now is just so frustrating. It's even
Yeah.
hard to just, be a person that picks up, your phone to talk to Instagram, and all the
Yeah.
people out there because you're like, oh God, what if I say something wrong? Like it's hard. It's frustrating.
Yeah, well, it's interesting that I mean, you're in a platform where you can say something and people can either misconstrue it or it can make news. Like I know recently you were on a podcast, you were talking about Lady Gaga,
Yes.
and that kind of went viral
Wild.
about your
Yeah.
thoughts about the fact that you didn't love her in college, and people were
Right.
like, "Wow." Um,
Right.
so, did that upset you, or you were like, "Whatever"?
You know, it did because I didn't want people to take it in the fact that I was like, I think that she's a terrible human.
No,
All I
and I
was saying
listened
was
to the
like,
podcast. You were saying what anyone else would say about someone they went to college with, and you
yeah,
flat out said she's a genius. She's
she's
amazing
a
right now.
genius.
Yeah,
She truly is like an absolute musical genius phenomenon human. She's
right.
also the acting that she does in these movies now is insane. Like she's so good.
Yeah,
And she was so good back then. It was literally just like a moment in time that not just I was like, okay, maybe like either let's take turns singing or like let's just like maybe have the lunchroom like slightly quiet like one day a week.
right.
And yeah, and it just went so big and so viral, and so many people were so mad. And I was like,
Yeah,
I'm not saying I don't like her at all. Like, I
right.
do like her.
Or you weren't saying you wished she didn't become who she became. I mean, it
She
really,
totally deserved to. She's
right.
incredible. Yeah, it's
Right,
silly.
but that is an example of, how sometimes you have to watch what you say because it gets
Totally.
By the way, the headline ends up getting misconstrued because again, you didn't say anything that
No,
anyone else wouldn't have said, and it was funny to listen to and made her more relatable. You know what I mean?
totally.
So like, yeah, she was annoying. Who cares? Like she can't be
Right.
perfect all the time.
Right. And honestly, the fact that she was like that probably, you know, that person she was at that moment made her who she is today and why she's
Totally.
this big star because she's like in people's faces being like, "Hey, I'm
Mhm.
great." And like,
Yeah.
I wish I had more of that.
Yeah. And she believed in herself enough to do
Yes.
that. Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
good for her.
Yeah, good for her.
Okay. Did you feel, my last question on this was, did you feel pressure to find a bachelor couple, to be part of that bachelor couple after 3 times now of being on the show kind of? Like,
No.
did you really pick the person that became your husband and said, I love this guy, even without the show, I would have been married to him?
You know, it's funny. I remember when we were on a date, like when we got back, and I remember looking at him and being like, even if I had met you in life, like you would have had me. Like, like I knew that he was the right person for me at that time. We had, we had a lot of issues and drama kind of even before we got married with just the circle of life.
Mhm. Like,
But
by the way, everyone does. I mean, it can't
yeah,
be
and
perfect
so
as it is on TV.
yeah, and so was it perfect when we got married? No. Was it perfect after we got married? No. Should we have gotten divorced? Yes. Um, but I didn't ever feel pressured to like him because like even on the show, I didn't like him until I did. And no one
Right.
was pressuring me to like him. They were like, "Do you like him or do you not like him today?" And I was like, "I don't know today. I don't know." Like I mean,
Right.
no one was like, "Oh my gosh, you should like this guy." They were all shocked.
Yeah.
So was I. So but then when I always say it was like someone lifted the veil and then I saw him in this different light and that's the person I fell in love with.
Right.
So yeah, I think I would have even if we had been here and I met him out and we still had the same conversations that made me fall in love with him, I still would have.
Yeah. And I always like looking at it this way that, like, just because the marriage didn't last till you guys were in your 80s, you guys got 2 amazing kids out of it. You guys will
Yeah,
always be in each other's lives. It
right,
just, you don't have to be married to have been in each other's lives. And you
right.
have this history with each other,
Yeah.
where your kids can actually watch your first kiss on
Oh
TV.
god. It's
Yeah, but you
terrifying.
have this whole
Yeah.
support system of people that will, always rally around you and him together and you guys separately, and nothing about it is a failure. So
Yeah, I
I've
totally
learned
agree.
that from what I've had to go through. But
Yeah,
I think so many people have a hard time with it and grieve about it and can't
yeah,
get over a divorce because they think that it was a failure. But
yeah.
I shouldn't see it that way.
Sorry, my cat's coming over here. My cat is in a cone right now.
Oh, did he just get neutered?
He has like something wrong with his paw. So he has like a little cast on the back paw and now this thing on because he keeps licking it.
Oh, okay. Hope he's okay.
I know.
Okay, so do you have any predictions for the new season of The Bachelor coming up?
Gosh, I don't know. I hadn't watched in so long and The Golden
Mm,
Bachelor got me back in. So
yeah. The Golden
now I
Bachelor
feel like
was pretty good.
it was very good.
Yeah.
Watching old people fall in love was one of my favorite things to do.
Yeah,
Like,
and gave me kind of inspiration because 'cause I'm still
yeah. Yeah. Oh,
single. My daughter, who's 11, was like, "Mom, you should try out for the next Golden Bachelor."
oh my gosh.
I'm
What?
like, "Wyatt, I'm 48. I'm not in my 70s." She's like, "Oh." Like, like,
Come
I'm
on.
so old. So,
Oh, there should
I'm
be like a
hoping
mid-level.
I'm hoping they create a mid-level
Yeah.
bachelorette, or I'm dying to be on Love Is Blind.
Oh my gosh, that show is so good.
It's so good. Would
It's
you ever
so
do a show like that?
well, I have a boyfriend now, so no.
Okay, well, let's pretend he didn't exist. Would you do a show like that or like
Oh
Married at
gosh.
First Sight? I love shows like that.
Oh, I wouldn't do Married at First Sight. Um, only because I already had, the one wedding or one marriage go bleh. So,
Right, and on
the
TV, yeah.
likelihood of that happening on that show again is high.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
But I think like Love is Blind is fun,
Yeah.
because you really truly are just like, what's gonna happen? Like, who is
Yeah.
that? Yeah.
I think it's such a great concept. And I think a
Mhm.
lot of it is similar to dating online. Well, with the exception that you could see the person's picture. But if you
Yeah.
date online correctly, you can get to know somebody's personality before you
Yeah.
meet them in person.
Totally. Very
And
true.
in person is when you know that you have physical chemistry, but like, sometimes they can hold a spoon wrong. And I'm like, "Ugh, I can't do
Ooh,
it.
yeah. Yeah,
I
yeah.
have the ick for this person." But
Yeah.
before you meet someone, you could tell if you have this chemistry that's like
Yeah.
you can't make it up. It's like
Right.
they're
Same.
attentive or it's something they get you, you get them. There's a
Yeah.
cadence in the way that you guys
Same
connect.
humor. Yeah.
Yeah. So I do think that meeting someone and becoming like friends with them first is the way to go,
Yeah.
in my
Yeah.
opinion. I think that will work.
I agree.
Okay. How is co-parenting going with you and your ex?
I have the kids most of the time. And so, like, he'll pick them up. He has them every other weekend. He picks them up from school on Friday and takes them to school on Monday morning.
Mhm.
We don't have to really interact too much.
Okay.
We haven't had any, like, things we really disagree with the children,
Mhm.
yet in life. They're very small.
Yeah.
Really, it's fine. Like, would I say like I want to hang out with him and like we get along really well? No, I wouldn't say that. But in regards to the children and co-parenting them, I think we're doing it. We're doing a great job. The kids are very happy.
Yeah.
They're thriving. That's all good.
Right. And now, since you've been off these shows, you have gotten into a new career, or, you've gotten back
Yeah.
into a career and made it more serious.
Yeah.
Let's talk about your music for a second. You just got back from being on tour with Nick Carter, correct?
Yes.
What was that like?
It
By the
was
way, did you
incredible.
listen to all his music growing up?
Oh yeah. I was a huge Backstreet Boy fan. Yeah. And like, did
Huge.
everybody have a crush on Nick Carter? Yes. Was he
Yeah.
like my favorite? Yes. Like it was
And
so
by the way, when their music comes on
wild.
the radio still, I'm
So
like jamming out and turning up the volume. Like that's my jam.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It was, I mean, truly like some of the best moments of my whole life.
Yeah.
I was putting music out this past year and I kind of was like, what am I doing? Like I spent all this money, like I did it all. Like I wrote with people, like I put these music videos together. I did all these things and I was like, what's going to come of this? Am I too old to be doing this? Like, am I too mom to be doing this? And I truly was just like putting it out and just kind of waiting for the universe to say yes, you
Mhm.
know? And then the Nick Carter tour came about really just because my agent used to be like an agent within the family. And
Mhm.
Nick was singing in Nashville and he was looking for influencers to like just help get the word out. And my agent was like, hey, can Carly sing a few songs at the concert? And he was like, absolutely. And he was like, wait, all this stuff is so good. Does she want to go on tour with me next month? Like it literally happened in like 30 minutes. Like
Wow.
brain explosion. But it was truly like, it was so great. The girl who played guitar with me is my old nanny, who has become
What?
one of my best friends. Yeah, she's an artist in town, and she just started working for a different family. And before even her first day of work, I was like, "Hey, I'm going on tour with Nick Carter. Do you want to come play for me and then do background vocals?" And she was like, "Yes." I hope I don't get fired. But no, she's going on the next tour with me as well. But she's one of my best friends, and it was like so much fun just to even get my confidence back, like as a singer and as a person
Yeah.
outside of motherhood, as a woman, as an entertainer, as a presence besides,
Right.
just this
Getting
world.
your groove back. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. So you needed that for sure.
Yeah.
Before we get into what you're going to be doing this year, talk to me. You just brought up being an influencer. I forgot. Like that's a huge part of your income, right? Like
Oh yeah.
you have been doing so much of that.
Yeah.
Talk to people about how you got into that, what it is you do. Like, I feel like that is so interesting for people that want to be doing it. And it's no longer like when I was younger, to be famous and get paid by a company to do anything, you had to have a reel, you had to be someone, you had
Oh
to,
yeah.
have a background and be a credible person representing a product.
Yeah.
Now influencers are really where it's at. I mean, if you have
Yeah.
followers and you can, talk about a product and be relatable, that you become a superstar.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, honestly, this has been my main income for probably 7 years now.
Wow.
Um, and I got into it really right after The Bachelor, and I didn't even know it existed because when my brother went on The Bachelor, social media was not a thing. And then when
Mhm.
I went on, it started becoming a thing, but like making money from it wasn't a thing yet. I think the
Yeah.
first ad I ever did, maybe it was a FabFitFun box or like maybe Diff eyewear or something.
Right.
Um, but yeah, and I mean, the only things I do now are things I actually believe in. I wouldn't say that I've always been like that in the beginning. It was kind of just like, whoa, money's coming in. Let
Mhm.
me talk about this or whatever. And there's definitely things that I said I would do. And then I was like, no, this is horrible. Like, there's no way I'm ever putting an ad out there for this.
Yeah.
Um, but
And for
it's
people that
interesting.
don't know how that works, they send you a product, you
Mhm.
get to try it,
Right.
and then they pay you to talk about it
Promote it. Yeah, to
and
talk
say you
about
love
it.
it. Yeah.
Right. Right. Um,
And is it usually a one-shot thing, or is it like advertisers on my podcast where they book for weeks at a time?
it depends. And also like it could be like, hey, do you want to do 3 stories and a reel or something? And I'm like,
Got it.
yeah, cool. Or, it's like, hey, do you want to do a story? And then it does really well. And then the company's like, hey, would you like to do another one next month? You know?
Got it.
So there's a lot of that going on. But yeah, I mean, also, it's so weird. Your life takes twists and turns. Like, last year I was putting out a lot of music content. And
Mhm.
so influencers, I wasn't like really an influencer anymore. I was kind of this other person. So
Mhm.
I think a lot of companies didn't really know what to do with that, and that
Yeah.
they kind of don't. So I'm trying to like manage, influencer life of things that I like and I would like to promote, but also saying, hey, I'm still singing, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're going on tour with Niko Moon this year.
Yes.
Are you doing just 4 of the shows?
Yes.
Are
I'm
you
doing
so
4 days.
excited? We had
Oh
Nico
my
on the
gosh.
show a couple weeks ago. He's like a ball of sunshine. You can't
I know. I just met
not
him
be
for the first
obsessed
time
with him.
yesterday. Yeah.
He's so much fun. And by the way, his stories, I'm a huge country fan. And the stories, he told me the greatest story about how he wrote Keep Me in Mind with his 2 friends. And I just was like on the floor. I think he's like such a phenomenal songwriter. The people he knows
Oh,
is amazing. And then he's a great
yes.
performer.
Yes. Yeah, he has this like crazy energy that I think you're just drawn to him because
Mhm.
he like exudes light.
Yeah.
Like truly. Like he walked in the room yesterday. We had like some promotional stuff we were doing at his recording space. And I'd never met him before. I'd like talked to him on FaceTime, but he walked in the room and I was like, whoa, it's like, yeah, it's like sunshine. It's
Yeah.
wild. Even in all the snow, he is a ray of sunshine. But I'm so excited because his opener is Red Farron, who is also huge right now.
Mhm.
And this is the first tour that like, puts me in the country space because with Nick Carter, I mean, I sang country music. I did some pop stuff too, but he's pop. And
Yeah.
so it was, I think some of his audience wasn't quite sure what to do with me. Like they're
Sure.
like, oh, we like her. And she's like, I talked a lot and like I was funny and they liked the songs, but this is the audience that I need, you know,
Right. For
that will
sure.
understand.
Right. And then so like what do you perform? How do you pick what you're performing? Because you're opening, right? You're not doing some collab with him.
Right. I have a 15-minute set. So
Okay.
with Nick Carter, what did I have? 40-minute set. Is that
Oh
right? I
wow.
think so. 30 or 40-minute set. It just happened and I can't even remember. But this is just, I mean, honestly, they're adding me to the billing I think one, because they believe in me, and two, because I'm a draw as well.
Yeah.
And I'm a girl,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. But
I'm
how
just,
does it work? Like, how do you pick what you're gonna do in that 15 minutes to showcase
I mean,
yourself?
really, I'm doing two of my like most upbeat songs. One of them hasn't been released yet. It's called Drinking Game, which is like a really fun song that I'm leaving people with. But I think the most important thing that I learned from the Nick Carter tour, music wise, what people respond to is that you give them some of your stuff, but then you give them stuff that they really like and they know. And so then once they hear stuff they know, they're like, "Ooh, I like you." And then they listen more to the stuff that they don't know.
Right.
So I'm doing my first single, Your Friends Like Me More, and then I'm doing a mashup of Cruel Summer and Heart Like a Truck, like Taylor Swift and Lainey Wilson
Wow.
in the middle, just to like get people like jamming. And
Yeah.
then my song Drinking Game at the end. And then I like to joke and be silly in between them and connect to the audience just by talking. So um I think it's good, you know, it's like short, but it's short and sweet. And then I
Right.
bought these little bracelets that I'm going to throw out that have my name on them, and I'm going to try to meet people at the merch table and just honestly connect with the country audience that I haven't been able to
Right.
connect to yet.
Oh my God, that's so exciting.
I'm
I
so
can't
excited. I
I
can't wait.
can't
I'm like,
wait to
let's go.
hear.
Let's go. I'm ready.
Yeah, I can't wait to hear how it goes. So how does that work though when you're on tour like that? Will your ex take your kids for a week at a time or
So this is only the first shows are that I'm on are Thursday, Friday, and then the next shows that I'm on are Friday, Saturday. So the weekend, the Tuesday, Thursday, my mom's just gonna watch them, take them to school, and then I get back Saturday morning. So
Oh, okay.
and then the next weekend he picks them up from school on Friday. So I'm just gonna head out Friday morning. So with the last tour, because it was like 12 days or something like that.
Mm,
My mom took them for like half the time, and my ex took them for like half the time.
got it. Okay, so you're doing it in little stints. I imagined you on this like tour bus for like
No,
a month.
I've been like driving.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
So fun. Oh my
No,
gosh.
it's so fun. And even like my uh the girl who's playing guitar, Sam, you know, we've been writing music on the road and all sorts of stuff. So it's just been fun, and just like girl bonding, and you
Yeah.
know, just having time away is, you know, yes, I'm a mom and I love my kids, but it is real nice having a break.
Right, exactly. All right, I have a couple rapid fire questions.
Okay.
Cool.
Yeah.
What was the first concert you ever went to?
I think Leanne Rhymes and Brian White.
Ooh, good one. What is your go-to karaoke song?
Ooh, probably Something to Talk About.
Good one. What are you watching on Netflix right now? Or a streaming service? Doesn't have to be Netflix.
What am I watching right now? Oh gosh, it's always like weird magic teenage shows. What did I just Oh, I'm watching The
Really?
Travelers. Yeah, no, it's so weird. I get really into dumb magic shows about like werewolves and vampires. I don't know.
Okay. That's interesting. Okay, what did you say the name was?
The Travelers, or I think I just watched The Order. I think both of those are on Netflix
Okay.
right
I don't know either one of those. I'll have to look them up. Um,
now. Well,
maybe not because my go-to, I just binged last night, American Nightmare. So obviously our
oh,
are
well, I
different.
can't watch that when the kids are around. So that's I mean, I have them all the time, so it's really hard to find time
Yeah,
to yeah.
right.
Magic.
Do you know what I'm talking about though?
I saw it on there, but I'm sure it's like
It's
it's
so good. I watched all 3 episodes, you know, it was like midnight and I'm like doing research on you and I look up and I'm like, "Oh, let me just press play for a second." I was up till 3 in
casual.
the morning watching this. And then this morning at 8 AM, I'm again like dropping off my kid at school, coming back, finishing my stuff with you, and I kind of Google who this journalist was who, you know, was featured throughout the whole thing, stalked him, called the assignment desk in San Francisco. It's like
Oh my
5 in the morning his time, spoke to him and invited him on my show.
shut
So,
up.
yeah, so
I
that's how
love
excited I
that.
am. Yeah,
I'll
it's a
watch
great
it.
show. You've got to watch
Watch
it.
it when the kids
Not
are
with the kids around. Um, now where am I here? Okay, so like if you're alone in the car, what music are you listening to these days?
I always have like the new country playlist on just because I really want to hear like what's vibing out there.
Okay. Who's your favorite country singer?
I mean, gosh, you know what's crazy is like Maren Morris is now going to Pop World, but I like truly love Maren Morris.
Yeah, she's really good.
She's so
I
good.
like Luke Combs.
Oh, I do too. Yeah.
He's such a good songwriter, and
Oh
everything
my
he does
gosh,
is
there's
good.
so many good songwriters here in Nashville too. It's
Yeah,
insane.
that's true. There's so many good ones. Okay, if you could do an ultimate girls trip like Bravo does, but with the Bachelor Nation ladies, who would be the 5 people on your trip?
Oh gosh. Ashley Kennedy, Jade Roper, Whitney Bischoff, probably Caitlin Bristow, and Julia Kenny.
Okay. Do you watch Bravo shows?
I mean, no, not enough. Not
So you're
enough.
not into that stuff.
Mhm.
Okay, your identity for a long time was connected to something else, like Carly from The Bachelor, or
Yes.
Carly and Evan from Bachelor in Paradise, Carly and Jade, Carly the momfluencer. Now you're Carly Waddell, singer, songwriter, writer. Do you feel like right now you're in the place you should be and want to be?
I mean, I feel it's a scary place to be, truly, because it's new and because I don't know where it's going. Or like even financially, I'm like, oh gosh, like was this a bad decision? But in my soul, this is the place that I know I'm supposed to be. So I know that I'm in the right place because I
Gotcha.
feel so at peace and I love singing and I love songwriting and I love standing in front of people and connecting. And I think that's my place.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I just lost it for a while.
Is there something on your bucket list in the future that you want to be doing?
Oh gosh, I mean, really, I want a song to get on the radio.
Yeah.
That's, bucket list wise, like when one of my songs, which I don't think I've written yet, but when that song hits the country airplay, then
That's got to be the most amazing feeling. Have you ever seen the movie
gosh.
That Thing You Do?
Yes.
And remember that moment where their song gets played for the
Yes.
first time? That is
Yeah.
one of the best scenes in movie history because they exuberate this, or exude this, happiness that you
Oh,
just know that they are feeling. It's like the
yeah,
greatest
yeah.
scene.
Yeah.
Okay. And anything else we can expect from you this year that we don't know about?
Hopefully I'm gonna be putting out more singles and just hopefully like a tour after this tour and just, more of stepping into this new, scary, but exhilarating, exciting space of music.
Right. Okay. Well, we wish you the best of luck. It was such a pleasure meeting you. I hope I
Thank
meet you in real life soon.
Yeah, same. Come to Nashville.
I will. Thank you so much for listening to Misunderstood. I'm your host, Rachel Yucatel. Please be sure to subscribe to the show and give us a 5-star rating and review. You can support the show by joining our Patreon at patreon.com/misunderstood with Rachel Yucatel. Do you have ideas for the show or want to reach out? Email us at info misunderstoodpodcast@gmail.com. That's spelled MISS understood. Thank you so much, and I'll see you next time.